Hello and welcome to Custom Gamer. My name is Daz and this is the show where we talk about level design while playing cool maps. Finally got a Quake release for you today, going to break the cycle a bit and do some Quake stuff as there's been a lot of very cool releases lately. This is one of them. It's called Nyarlathotep and it is by Tronyn. Now this map requires a couple of special settings in order to get working correctly. Firstly, you need to go and download Tronyn's latest release called Something Wicked, This Way Comes. You can click on the image on the screen to go to the video I did of that if you want to have a look at it. The download link for Something Wicked is in the description below this video. And this map we're looking at today requires this to be installed in order to work properly. So the second thing we need to talk about is that this map requires a custom engine, as the second map in the pack uses the new BSP2 map format, which not a lot of engines support just yet. The engine I'm going to recommend is exactly the same engine that I used for Something Wicked, This Way Comes. It is called RMQ, and there's a link for that in the description below this video as well. Now, if you're a Quake purist, there are some custom console commands you may want to enter for this engine to get it looking a little bit more like Quake and less like some kind of crazy bloom light show. So I've put them up on the screen right now, and I've also included them in the description below along with everything else, so you can just copy and paste them into any configs you have, quickly setting things up. And as you can see from what you're seeing on the screen right now, it looks exactly like normal Quake with these settings, which is great. Alright, so as you can see, this map is very vertical and it uses low gravity. It's very much inspired by E1M8 Ziggurat Vertigo from the original Quake. So let's go and have a look what's going on. So you don't normally see a lot of low gravity maps for Quake. They tend to be few and far between, but they're pretty interesting when they do come around. What's interesting to me is actually showing to the player that it's a low gravity map right at the start. If you go and play Ziggurat Vertigo, you notice that the player starts off fairly high up, just kind of spawns in midair and slowly drops down. And if the player doesn't move, they actually fall into a little crevice in the floor. They have to jump to get out of it, and of course the jump sends them flying up into the air, and then they realise, oh, it's low gravity. It's kind of a really nice way to show the player that that is actually what's happening. Tron does something a little bit similar here in that the player starts in midair and falls down, and then there's a little ramp just in front of them to get up onto that platform, which kind of sends you into the air as well, so it's kind of the same concept, kind of show the player what's going on here. Now this map is pretty experimental in that it's super vertical. Most of the gameplay is done very much on a Z-axis level. It's kind of, this level feels like just a giant tube going upwards basically. And of course there's all the special new weapons and items from Something Wicked This Way Comes. They're all used here as well, so there's plenty of weapons to use. The wand, it's not really documented very well, but the wand can actually give zombies if you let it charge up enough. Unfortunately there's nothing really in the UI to show the charge level. That might just be an engine bug rather than an omission, because I'm pretty sure I saw a charge meter for it in Something Wicked. I could just be misremembering there. But yeah, if you take out the wand, let it charge for a few seconds, you can give zombies with it, as you're seeing here. So the gameplay is, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It can be very frustrating. It's mainly due to the fact that the jumping is so slow, which gives you a lot of momentum and lets you jump around all over the place, but it's also quite annoying because you can't really maneuver very well while you're jumping, which lets the hundreds of zombies in this map just slowly take you apart. Which is going to annoy some people, but I found it for the most part bearable. I really couldn't complete this map on skill 2. This is recorded on skill 1. It felt a little bit easier, though I didn't really notice too many changes. I'm not even sure if there really were any. Maybe I just got really lucky on this playthrough. But this map is extremely unforgiving later on. There's some really nasty situations you can get yourself into. This really is a map where you just have to keep moving constantly because there's just zombies everywhere. And because of the low gravity, their projectiles can reach you from just about any distance. There's also a bit of a learning curve here, because obviously with the low gravity your grenades can fire super far. You generally have to aim down a lot from where you actually want to hit, because the grenade's arc will send it flying above your crosshair. So there's definitely a learning curve here that can be fairly frustrating as well. But you get used to it after a while. Now visually and atmospherically I really like this map. It's just really, really disgusting, I suppose is the best word. It's got this really kind of bloody, meaty atmosphere. There's blood trails flying everywhere, there's jibs being shot out of fountains in various other places. The map just feels really disgusting, that really is the best word to describe it. Architecture-wise, it's kind of nice actually. The verticality is done really, really well. You can look up and down and the place just looks absolutely massive. There are a couple of shortcuts you can open up, teleporters. Unfortunately, one of them doesn't really work. Because of the low gravity, you kind of get flung out of the exit of the teleporter straight over the edge and back down to the bottom again. There's really nothing you can do about it. Which is unfortunate because that's the teleporter for the highest level. So that can be fairly frustrating if you do fall down and want to use that teleporter. It's a shame that that had to happen like that. So this is another thing that can be a little bit annoying. If you're flying towards a platform and get hit by a zombie gib, then you're going to lose some momentum and you'll probably miss the jump, which is why I turned around back there. So we picked up the Drunken grenade launcher. I think this was a weapon I really questioned in Something Wicked. I just didn't understand what it was for. Apparently the projectiles are homing, kind of slightly drunken as well. They don't do as much damage as a rocket, but they do kind of work for long range zombie takedowns like this. I suppose this map is really going to annoy you if you really don't like low gravity and kind of vertical maps. That's the crux of it here. The other issue I found that if you're right at the top and you somehow completely fail a jump or get knocked off the edge, it's possible to just fall all the way back down to the beginning of the level again, which can be really frustrating depending on if you activated the teleporters or not. So you do want to be very, very careful with where you jump. I think something that perhaps would have worked nicely here is, instead of just one giant shaft all the way from the bottom to the top, is to separate the map out into a couple of different shafts that are perhaps slightly smaller each, but then again, if you fall to the bottom of one shaft you won't be going back to the very beginning of the level. You can kind of stagger it slightly, so there's less of a harsh penalty for a jump fail. Saying that though, you probably lose some of the epic feeling of looking up and down, which is what this map does really well. So perhaps maybe just some more teleporters to different areas would have been more advantageous here. Now we get our first little mini-boss. Again, Tron loves the kind of Egyptian themed stuff. He's always been a big fan of that throughout all of his maps. There's some special zombies here which take a lot more damage before they go down. I've got a quad here so you can't really tell. I do really like the red fog that goes into the distance. That it really helps enhance the atmosphere of this just being a very, very disgusting place. Just this blood red mist in the air. It's yeah, it's pretty revolting. Does a great job of kind of, it helps you judge distance as well in a way, because you can kind of tell just by how thick the fog is where you want to jump, kind of how far away it is. It really helps. Now this is where the map gets really, really harsh, so Tron saw fit to add some drolls around here, and I mean 1 or 2 would have been okay, but there's actually 4 in this area, and the fact that you're in low gravity, so it's hard to move around, especially if you get stuck on a wall or something. And this has got to be my play of the year. I've got 1 health, I spin around, grab the mega health behind me here, just in time to survive that attack. It's so clutch. I'm really happy with myself. I don't know how I survived this. It's just, I must have played this map 5 or 6 times on hard and just died here every single time. On normal I just about manage it. But yeah, that was so close. Actually, I start to get really conscious of my health levels, so I drop back down here to pick up these health kits. We can skip the way back up because it's basically the same as I've already done. So now we can climb these giant stairs at the end of the map. I do enjoy this. The fact that these stairs are here and you have to jump up them like this, it means that you really do have to deal with those trolls. You can't just kind of ignore them and move off, because they will kill you in this stair area if you do that. It's a shame, there might be a secret with a rocket launcher or something, but that would be really handy on this map. Imagine grenade jumps are also super useful if you can time it right. So that is the end of the first map. Now we're going to go on to the second one. Found 3 of 6 secrets there, and there's still a couple I haven't found, even on separate playthroughs. I haven't found those yet. Now the second map is definitely more of an arena map. And you'll see why, but I don't actually finish this map. I got really frustrated with my death here. It really got to me and I didn't want to continue playing. But this map is absolutely huge. Again, if you're not too sure about the lingo of kind of BSP versions, BSP 2 is a new file format which basically lets mappers create much larger and more detailed levels. A lot of the limits of the original BSP format have been raised or destroyed with this format. So you can basically just create whatever you want without worrying about size or brush count. And you can kind of tell why this map was created using this format, because when I do eventually look up, it's just absolutely huge. You can kind of see the skybox in the background with all kinds of floating islands with Shub-Nigguraths all over them. The skybox in this map is fantastic, by the way. It's great to look at. You really feel like you're in this kind of alternate dimensions, crazy place. Again, you've got this classic Tronyn architecture here, very Egyptian influenced, giant archways. Looks fantastic. There's some great lighting here as well with the kind of the pharaohs on the walls there lit up really bright lights. It looks fantastic. So again, this map is very vertical as well. You have to kind of climb up to the top in order to reach all the different key areas and other places. It's funny because you look up and you see the ceiling there, but there's actually a whole another level on top of it. Probably goes up even higher, but I haven't completed the map yet, so. Now I figured there might be a secret back here. I was trying to work out how to get the silver key in those bars there, but nothing there. This map does feel a lot more disconnected than the original. I got lost a couple of times, and there's a lot of messaging as you get up to the second level here. There's a lot of different message triggers which tell you where to go, but they're all kind of in the same area, so you end up with this giant jumble of messages on your screen. It just ends up being more confusing more than anything else, which is a bit of a shame. There's a lot of instances like this as well, where to progress you have to kill a certain amount of enemies or certain types of enemies, and if you miss even one of them, it can be quite frustrating to try and find which one you've missed, as this is such a large map. So the gravity here isn't quite normal, it's a bit lower than normal. It's hard to say exactly. I'd say it's about 2/3 normal gravity. So the grenades are a little bit easier to aim, but obviously don't quite go as far. So you can see here there's a lot of messaging around here on the screen, especially when you're killing off these zombies as well. It's just messages flashing up on the screen all the time. It can be very confusing. We finally get ourselves a rocket launcher, which makes things a hell of a lot easier. So yeah, when you walk over these icons on the floor, you get a message telling you what they are. Unfortunately, they're right next to a door, which gives you a message as well. So it ends up being very spammy. And it's not really clear where you should go from here. you're kind of left to explore around a little bit. It's confusing because one of the messages says that the silver key door is below, and it makes you feel like you need to go back down to get to the silver key door with the key or something. It's not actually the case. So let's skip ahead a little bit here. So come back up where I picked up the rocket launcher before. You can go around the side here. It's not a secret, from what I can tell. It's just kind of the way you have to go. Look at the skybox here, it's amazing. I don't know if Tron made this himself or found it from somewhere else, but it's a great skybox nevertheless. You've got to kill a few more zombies and that door with the dagger on it opens up. And this is where I got frustrated when I died. It's kind of strange because as I looked into the silver key door earlier, you could see crushers on the wall. So I kind of knew they were there already. I just didn't think that they would trigger when you picked up that and it kills you. I don't know what I expected to happen really. I knew they were there. I just kind of thought, well, I need the key to progress, so is it really just going to kill me like that? And yeah, it did. And I just really didn't want to play anymore after that. I don't know why it got to me, but there you go. So it's a really interesting release. If you like vertical maps or low grav maps, definitely check it out. And I will see you next time.